Okay, guys. Okay, so let me share my screen. All right. Okay, so hello, guys. First of all, I'm Sagar. I've been working on the IC since last 2 years. My main role and responsibility are like I'm helping different projects and different startup to set up their initial infrastructure and initial architecture, and then help them to onboard their project into the productions. And also, if they need any grants or any help from the Definity, I'll help them with the connections. So that's all about me, and welcome. Thank you guys for joining, and let's deep dive into the internet computer. So before we start, I just wanted to know, like, you guys can able to speak, right? Or at least respond to text. Have you guys ever have you guys read anything about the internet computer, what it is? Is there anyone can answer anything about the internet computer?
From what I know, I think it's AWS, but decentralized.
Correct. Kind of correct. Kind of. Anyone, anything else? Yeah. I think so. It's not good idea to make it interactive here. So yeah. So as one of you said that it's a AWS, but in a decentralized way. So that is, I would say, kind of correct. The goal of the Definity and the internet computer is to become a AWS kind of thing, but in into the decentralized way, as well as for the Web3. So what I mean by the Web3 is a decentralized, as well as everything you see is on the decentralized node, which not controlled by AWS only. Like, individual node providers own the infrastructure and they can host the architecture. So that means anyone in the world can set up their infrastructure and start supporting internet computer. Whereas in Web 2 or in AWS, we need AWS team or the group of people, only they can make a decision and they can scale your infrastructure. But that's not one of the only thing which Definity or internet computer is going to solve. So the way they are going to do is like they are building out end-to-end solutions. End-to-end solution is like, so let's start from the scratch, where we are coming from and where we are at right now. So in terms of, if we talk about how the public network evolved so far. So initially, I would say, like, if you guys are aware of, initially before AWS and any public cloud networking which we are seeing, AWS, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud, before that every company were having their own infrastructure. Means they have their own IT team which manage, they set up their own server and manage their infrastructure by themselves. But then AWS come and they said, why you need to do all of these things? Let's have a public network where we share the resources, and it would be much easier for any new company to join without doing any infrastructure work. So that's big solution, right? At the time, and that's what we are seeing nowadays, that AWS and all clouds are booming. That's what happened. The same thing happened with the information superhighway. So initially, before internet, TCP, ICP protocol, there were certain limited network protocols were there, which is internally working, internally between the certain companies or between the circuit, a certain organization only. But even that was not scalable and something didn't go well. So then TCP ICP protocol come and it helps to work throughout the global networks, like anyone can connect through TCP IC and send and receive the information. So now we are coming to the third part of our evolution, which is the legacy IC stack. What does that mean? So currently, if you see, or if you guys are aware of that, let's take an example of AWS. So for the AWS, in order for you to roll out one web application, you need to be first of all know about the AWS, how things works, how the servers work, like how you set up individual servers or one server to serve to build out a web application and user can use it. For one application, you need database server as well as there is a web server because HTTP or HTTPS request going to be there, which needs to serve the content to your user. As well as if you are doing a global, like throughout all over the world, then you need a CDN also to improve your latency. In addition to that, you guys need a firewall as well to secure web application. So all of these things you guys need, and you guys need to build out one by one in order to build out only one web application. So current IT stack is already has a lot of complexity and require a lot of infrastructure setup, even for a small company as a startup, or even if you are a big company. All of them have to do that thing. But now it comes to the internet computer, where as a blockchain level, they have solved all our issues. Like we do not need to worry about the servers, no need to worry about the database, no need to worry about the firewall and CDN. Everything they have already taken care of. It's like if you, it's a like you can say like a Lambda AWS. It's like serverless technology. If some of you have heard about it, it's it's kind of part of that we can say as an example, but in a broader way where they are taking care of all the securities, all infrastructure and scaling as well as security as well. Just a second, guys. I'm getting a lot of beep noise. So is someone asking question or what is that? Let's see.
I think that's people trying to enter the workshop.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So sorry about that. Okay. So far so good, right? So that's what the internet computer is coming into the picture, where being a business owner, being a developer, I don't need to care about what is the security things are there, how my CDN, my firewalls, as well as my different server are going to work. That's everything a internet computer is solving here. As a developer, I just need to care about what I am writing, what my business logic is, and what is the problem I am solving. So that's where now the third revolution, which the internet computer is working, is removing legacy IT stacks. Now, the terms they are defining where you write a code, they call it as a canister. So canister itself a software. So canister we can say as like one virtual server where you write your code. The benefit of that code is like it's a fast. It works as a wave speed. So if you have played around with any blockchain, it requires certain minutes to approve that transaction. Whereas internet computer is a fast. It's like a web 2 you are running. That it's a super fast compared to any blockchain which you have ever played around it. So that's the biggest problem which they are solving. Then it's a scalable. So it's scalable in the sense if you are running for a 5 users or 5 million or 5 billion user, you don't need to worry about how to scale your infrastructure. Internet computer will automatically will do it for you. So it's a scalable, like you can build any application on internet computer, and that can be scalable as soon as your user base increasing. Moreover, there is a multi-chain functionality available here. What does that mean is like you can talk to Bitcoin, you can talk to Ethernet. So that's all the connectivity is already there, where a developer, I can talk to Bitcoin blockchain or Ethernet blockchain. And I can do all while staying in IC in internet computer blockchain. It's efficient. So like there is no carbon footprint, which is like in some of the blockchain, if you know, that's a proof of work kind of blockchain where which require a lot of computation in order to work that blockchain. Where this blockchain is doesn't require that kind of functionality. It's a really environmental friendly. The cost of running the software on IC is really low compared to any blockchain currently running in our generation right now. Moreover, you can do HTTP requests directly to the blockchain. So the benefit of that, you can build out any web application like a Facebook, like a Google, like anything you can write, even your small software like Slack as an example. That also you can build out on IC. So moving like in for us to as a student, which we are like as a student like us, as we are graduating, why should we focus on the traditional stack which require a lot of things instead of we just focus more on what we need to deliver, what on our business goal is, and everything else is taken care by the blockchain. So in this canister itself, there are two main sectors which as a developer we need to worry: our business logic and our data. But the way this blockchain is working, everything, including your logic, business logic, as well your data, everything into the same canister. Same canister in the sense, same environment. So it's saving in your memory. So you don't need additional server or additional canister just to save your data. In a traditional application, what you do, you have a one web server where all your web logic, where your all business logic has been written. And then there is a database where your persistent data is stored. You continuously fetch and retrieve and update the data. Whereas in this case, everything into the one canister, one environment only. So it's a really fast. You don't need to make additional call, retrieve or do any related data. It's everything in a one canister. The benefit of the IC is like you can write code in any language. Currently, there is a Rust, TypeScript, Motoko, and Python. Four are widely available languages which people are using that on a day-to-day basis and building their own product or own software. So as a new graduate, if I'm comfortable more on a TypeScript or more on a Python, I can immediately start writing my web application or my software and start rolling out application quickly. The Rust is the more powerful at this moment because it's a natively supported language. And in addition to that, Motoko, which is they built it out. So these two language has a lot of features, but TypeScript and Python is coming along really well. So as a newcomers, if you are directly jumping on a TypeScript, I would say 70-80% of your requirements are there. You can build it out whatever you like. So the goal of this smart contract which you are writing in a canister, they can do whatever you are seeing over here. So you can build out your CSM system, like your Salesforce, or you can say your WordPress. You can build out using this smart contract. Smart contract is like what we are writing in our canister. The simple, let's say, as an example, is a hello, returning just hello from the backend. It's like one of your smart contract. You can build out any of that, like which you are currently doing using the Python or TypeScript. The same thing you can do it in a blockchain by building a smart contract in Python or TypeScript. All of this functionality, which is like application server, your memcache server, failover, backup, database, none of these things are required when you are using a smart contract and in a canister, when you are writing a code in a smart contract, because the blockchain will take over all of that your uh, trouble, and they will take care. You being a developer, focus on what you need only. So services, the way you are building like your APIs right now, currently it's the same thing, but its services you are building it differently because it's now Web3. There are a lot of different way to think when you write a Web3 application compared to Web2 application. This thing will come more as you learn, as you write your first script into TypeScript or Python. You gain more about the knowledge how to think differently and how to build out software differently. So as I mentioned initially, you don't need to have no need to worry about the cloud. No database servers are needed because that's being taken care by the IC itself. Same as no firewalls, no security things, no logging as a network layer or as a security application layer we need, but not as a network layer we need to monitor something because that's not our headache. It's all about taken care by internet computer at network level. Whenever we talk about the revolution, we have to first of all consider about the enterprise, right? Because that's the one who are mostly going to use any software and most of the people are going to use that product. So IC has considered this as a big thing into their ecosystem, and they are covering that how can enterprise use this as a technology into their ecosystem. So the problem currently the enterprise is solving. So suppose there is a bank, right? The bank, they need to provide, they need to give you service as a user to open your bank, open your checking account, saving account, and give you loan. So that's where their main business is, right? Their business is not to manage the servers, not to manage infrastructure or not all that. But at this moment, with the current technology stack, what we have, they need to build all these things out. They need to have in-house and offshore and as well as like third-party contractors to maintain all their back of the things which they need it for their customers, which is definitely our internet computer is trying to solve by not spending any amount or any resources into that. Directly come and build out your application and start saving money and start solving your problem with the smart contract. So these are the estimated amount which each company, like total companies, enterprise companies are spending on these are the software like cloud services, $600 billion of cost and annual basis. Data center services is costing 224 billion, which is going to down by 75% if we start building out application on internet computer. In addition to that, there is always security cost, which everyone, I would say, even smart startup to the big level company, they need to spend their resources as well as money into that. So that will go by reduce by a lot. One of the main differentiator of this blockchain is it provides sovereign subnet. So down the road, we know that each countries, like different countries, like say as an example, USA want that their nodes or that data should not go outside of USA. So if that kind of solution any country or any particular NGO or government is looking for, internet computer is ready to provide that service, which is coming in, I would say, what I heard last is the end of next year or so, but they already have plan and everything ready. So whenever any government or any new NGO or country is ready to start integrating, then they will start rolling out these services for them. The internet computer, the benefit of that, it's a multi-chain where you can talk to Bitcoin and Ethereum. As of now, based on my understanding, there is no blockchain currently which can directly work with the Bitcoin and Ethereum. All of them have built additional layer on the top of them, and then it works. But this is a direct native integration with a Bitcoin and Ethereum. So suppose you are building a one lending application where user need to deposit the Bitcoin. you can build it using the internet computer, where they come into your platform, they deposit their real Bitcoin into your account, and you can give a loan or financing option to that user. So those are the functionality currently available in IC ecosystem, internet computer ecosystem. Currently, our main infrastructure or main technology stack is a Web 2. So most of our application and what we are using is Web 2. Web 2 in the sense regularly what we are using, like Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, Snapchat, anything what we can is a Web 2. So think about like internet computer, don't forget about all these services. They are saying build out application for Web 3, do whatever you need to build in IC. You can still communicate to your legacy application, your Web 2 application. So there is a direct integration where you can make HTTPS call from an internet computer from your Web 3 to Web 2. So this is also one of the main benefit or main advantage compared to any other blockchain which is available in IC. So suppose you are building a notification service in IC. So like internet computer, you want to build notifications to trigger that to your user. So whoever are using your Web3 services, they'll get the notification because there are tools built out where they receive the notification. But your 50 or 80% user base may not use Web3, they use the Google, or they may use your Microsoft as their email services. So using internet computer, you can also trigger email from canister to that user, or you can make any API call from your canister to that web services. If you have one server or one services in your like regular AWS stack, and one currently you are building in the canister, or let's say as a simple example, ChatGPT. If you want to make a ChatGPT call while staying in IC, you can do it by using HTTPS call. That's the level of benefit, level of depth they have thought about it and build it out so it can consider all the scenario and all the possibilities. One of the important things nowadays, what we are hearing, it's about AI. As I mentioned, like ChatGPT is one of them, right? So as the AI is booming, they have also considered about the AI. So what their goal nowadays is, they are building AI-based, model-based infrastructure in smart contracts. As a developer, currently, how you make a call to ChatGPT or OpenAI, any model, GPT-3, GPT-4, 4 Turbo, you can make a call through API. The same way they are doing in Web3, where there are specific canisters or specific subnet which will have AI code or AI models are there. As a developer, I directly make a call and get a response in a Web3. And Web3, it is a more possibility that most of the models are going to be the open source. So more trustable and more tamper-proof and more scalable. So this is going to be the assumption that by 2023, AI utilization increased by 4x, and the cost global productivity value would be about 200 trillion. And that's we all have started realizing anyway. As much as we start using ChatGPT or OpenAI models, we have seen how our productivity started increasing. So this is what the internet computer is saying. It's a Web 3.0. It's a new platform where it's a full stack your application which is a decentralized. So I would like to highlight here the word which is a full stack. you can build your front end and back end, including your data, into the blockchain, into the decentralized way. So even currently, I would say any blockchain which you see, Ethereum or any other Solano, they just think about the back end of your application to be into the blockchain, whereas your front end code is still being on the AWS or on Azure. That is not decentralized at this moment. But the internet computer has also thought about that and consider, let's put everything. So your entire software, including front end and back end, everything in a decentralized. So you don't need to rely anything about the AWS or Google or Microsoft Cloud. One of the add-on thing here is they built out the centralized logging platform. So this is how their login thing works. So the way you guys have seen is like Google Authenticator, right? Or Google login or Facebook login. Like many application provide you to log in with a Google or log in with a Facebook, so that you don't need to remember that. The same thing these guys have done it, but more secure and more easy way to interact with the application, so that you can use your computer or your phone with your TPN on your devices, which is any devices on like your laptop or your phone, which come with this inbuilt infrastructure on your phone or device. And then there is an additional layer, which is a web authentication, including the internet computer. So all of these things they combine and they built out internet identity. So when you create account with internet identity, it will create a simple, you don't need to even remember the password. There is no password. So just with your fingerprint or your face, you can log in with any application. So there is a simple demo, simple thing. If you go to the, I'll walk you through maybe end of the demo, how does that work? And we can see it. So it's a simple where you have your anchor, your 6-digit number, and then any application integrate this internet identity. You can just log in with your fingerprint or your face. Right now, all application which are building on IC, which require authentication, they use this thing. And for each application, it will create a new authentication for you. So you don't need to, like, your application will not extract any of your data. So as I said, it's more secure compared to any of Web 2 standard as of now. So they also built it out easy login solution for us, which is within a few clicks, you can easily integrate it. So I would say, like, I wanted to focus some of the applications which are currently running on IC, and I would say thousands of users are currently using. So one of the example we see is like OC.app. This is more as a WhatsApp what we are using. Nowadays in a Web 2, we are using the WhatsApp. The same way, with the additional feature, they built out the OC.app. Everything what you see on the right side, it's on a Web 3. So you see the URL, it's kind of little different, but all your chat, all your groups, including your front end, back end, data, everything on a Web3, and you can do the real live chatting with any of your friends or in any of the group. That is like huge, like we can see like how our regular application converted into this, but as is a Web3, there are add-on features which we can use it. The same way, there is an application called Hot or Not. The similar kind of thing I would say is like TikTok in our Web 2. But this comes with the add-on benefit, like the application which they build it out is like you upload your video, which is going to be stay on Web 3. As a user, you come here and click on the Hot or Not. and whatever the number of user base is there, you earn the rewards based on that. That's a feature this application has built out. You can, while seeing the video, you can click on the different buttons and different things, as the same as TikTok, I would say. Currently, these are the application already being built and continuously in a development since last 2 or 3 years, and they are keep adding a new feature. So as an example, Gmail. Someone has built out application called Dmail, which is a decentralized, and you start receiving emails the way you are getting in Gmail. Here in Dmails and any of these application, as a user, you own that data. That is also benefit. Where in Gmail, it's not. Gmail, Google, and Google owns that data. Here we can have all the visibilities which the application has exposed. The same way for Spotify, there is a Canny store. As for Kickstarter, there is a funded application where user, if you are application and you want initial funding, you come there, throw your idea, submit some documentation, and then people will start funding you. Everything in a Web3 where some of the information are also public. So other user can also verify how things are going in this application. Whereas if we compare in a Kickstart, we don't know what is going behind the scene. So the mission for this is like enable and reimagination of humanity's system and services through the full stack decentralization of the internet computer. So entire technology stacks, these guys wanted to change and building out a new solution for a new generation so that we can have a more meaningful product and more more developers will be busy building on the application rather than focusing on the things which are not important for the business. So currently, the benefit of the relying on trusting internet computer is as well, there are more than 200 scientists are working on the Definitive Foundation. Definity is non-profit organization based in Zurich. They already have more than 1600 research paper and more than 250 technical patents already have there. Biggest team in any blockchain right now who has a full in-house team is only the Definity. Based on my best of knowledge, none of any blockchain has more than 200 scientists who are working on any particular blockchain. There is the individual entities and individual teams, but not as a core team who is working and maintaining this blockchain. I'll show you some of the documentation where you can start reviewing, start understanding, and start learning more about it. But before I do that, just have a quick hold, and I wanted to have, if anyone have any questions or any doubt, please speak here or text, put it in a chat, whatever is the convenient for you guys. Any question, any doubt, guys?
I'd love to hear more about the like internet identity, how they use your fingerprints and your face to as like a more form of access. So if that and all that information is stored, like just stored on like the internet computer protocol, like what are the concerns for like privacy and things like that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Privacy is, so you need to think about like what project you are. So suppose let's say an example of let's say an example of this OC.app, right? It's a open chat, that's what they are calling, where you can do it. So some of these application, it's open source, where you can go and review their code. So you know what level of the visibility of your data, they have it and you have it. So some of these applications work in a such way, even the application developer or as the owner of that application, I cannot use your data or I cannot view your data. It's only you are the person, as you are the data owner, only you can do it. So the one thing about the internet computer is most of the application who are broadly used, they go through the SNS. SNS is a one of the things in internet computer where all of your code is open source and people trusted your application. There is a real voting going on and people will fund that application as well, and you launch your token through that. But by doing that process, there is a real team who audit your code. There is a real user like you or me can review the code and can discuss on that particular application or particular functions or particular security flaw if they have it. We can directly have a chat or can put it into the forum and can discuss about that. So as a user, you will have a full visibility about that application or about that particular data which you are going to submit into that application. There are certain products or certain application currently being built on IC where, let's say, as example of Google Drive. So whatever the data you put, that's your own data. So some of the product which I know, they are building similar to that, but the way they are solving this problem with the Web3 is like you own your own data. Even that person who is creating that code base will not have access to your data which you are putting into IC or into that application. Only with your authentication, you can see that data. That is a possibility is in the Web3 and in the internet computer only. I don't think so you can do in Google or any other way. At the end of the day, they can view the data. They can build out their machine learning and their improvement model on your data, which is not possible in this case. So let me walk you through. This is the main website, internet computer, where you can learn more about it. As I mentioned, most of the things, tamper-proof, autonomous, simple. Then, as a developer, I would start going into the documentation of the developer docs, where there is a pre-built tutorials are available, pre-built small code base available for our understanding. And these are the programming language, Motoko, Rust, TypeScript, Python, where you can start building the application. Right? So now, one of the things which I wanted to also mention, in this hackathon, it's how you can definitely going to build out the application on IC, but think about you can also build out which is solving the real world problem and can receive a grant from the Definity. So Definitely currently is giving a grant up to 100K to any problem solver in any of the area. So suppose you are building a developing tool or real world any integration or any application, DApps. That's what they call. It's a decentralized application. So like Google Drive, similar solution you are building in a Web3 with having a more add-on feature, you can build such things out. Or you can think about any existing Web2 which has some restrictions or which is not reliable or not trustable. You can think about converting that in a Web3 with a decentralized way as well as user friendly with a more trustable way. You can build those things out and can receive a grant. They are giving up to 100K of grant into that program. So that is the add-on benefit. If you spend a couple of 1 or 2 weeks, learn more about it, build out initial program, roll it out, and then if you want to continue on that particular project, you can take a grant from Definity and keep working on your project. There are many projects, many hackathons. People have already been using these services and keep continuing their development work so that they can also build it out and they can support their financially. Okay, so coming back to here where is the documentation. This is where most of our work as a developer we are going to spend. These are, you can see all the features which I mentioned. In addition to that, there are many more features which you can review it and learn more about it. One of the requests which I received is you need to see this login, right? So this is NNS is one of their decentralized application, which if you go much deeper, you will understand. But my point to come here is to show you how you can do the login into this NSN application through internet identity. So this is the internet identity. This is my anchor number. I just come here, click here. I don't need to enter. This is all my uh, MacBook, and I just use the fingerprint, and that's it. I'm logging, and I'm coming into this where you guys can see my account. This is what it is. That's how I log in. So here, we are already here, I'll just show you how things are here. So there are different applications which I said, which are now going through SNS and it's open source, right? So now once you go through that SNS, which is there is a systematic flow, you will learn more about it. But once you go with that flow, any new code change or any change which you need to do in your front end or back end, that has to go through the proposal. And anyone in the world can create a proposal, and then people, real user who own this token, there is an open chat token. Whoever owns that token, they come here and vote on that token. If majority people approve that, then only the developer will get assigned and they will work on that development. That's how this decentralized work. For any of this application which you see now, even if I'm an application owner of this clinic as an example or a hot and not, I cannot directly push out any code. It has to go through the SNS proposal. People will come here and vote it, and then only once it gets executed, then only it goes into the production. That's what the benefit we are getting. So now all of this thing is visible, like we can see their code and everything is publicly available. So that is an add-on benefit of using this AWS and internet computer, and with the having this SNS on our end. This is once you scale your application, once you see more user base and more people are trusting your application, then you go into this route and can raise money so that you will have funding to keep building out your application. Right? So that's what the internet identity was there, and that's how the SNS thing after that, once you build out good application, you can go into that route to raise more money. You don't need to go traditional VC funding. You can directly raise money from here as well. And all of the application which I showed, they already raised millions of dollars in using this SNS platform. Okay. So far, so good, guys. Anyone have any questions, any doubt? So these are the most of the popular application which you come here and can review it. More than 177 projects registered here. That doesn't mean that's only. There are many more applications are currently currently running on IC. This is the just few example which they put it on their website. Okay. Yeah, I think so. That's all on my end, guys. Now I would give it 5-10 minutes to you, and feel free to ask any question, guys.
Hi, quick question. So I just wanted to ask for the developers that want to push apps, how they can utilize testnet's faucets.
Okay. So for that, uh, so there is a website where you can request. Let me see if I can find that URL. Uh, or I think so. I have it. Give me a 1 quick minute. Uh, okay. So you need to request, and once you get approved, which is immediately most probably, this is the website where you can request up to 10 trillion cycle they freely assign to you. So I'm sending you this link in chat box here. Let me see how can I do that. Where is the Zoom? Okay, chat. Okay. So this is a link where you can follow the steps and can get uh, cycles. And if this is taking a little bit of your time, then maybe you can what else we can do? Just try this option. If not, then your coordinator will reach out to Xavier and he will guide you over there as well. There are multiple options which we can do and can get the cycles. But this is a
Okay,
one
sounds
of
good.
the sorry, but guys.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, perfect. So cycle, like as you brought up that option thing, let me explain you guys that as well. Thanks for bringing up. So cycle, what is a cycle? That's important thing is to understand is like for any, like currently as we think about the AWS, where you deploy your code, you use your web servers, you need to pay dollar or any currency to AWS in order to provide you that service, like that database server or your web server or any other infrastructure which you use. You need to pay for that. The same way internet computer is, it's a reverse gas policy, which means being an application developer, being a business owner, I need to pay for the resources which I use. In our case, we are just using canisters. So we need to pay for that canisters which we are using to serve our users. So for that, we need a cycle. How you get the cycle is first you need to buy the ICP, then you convert. ICP is a token for the internet computer, and then you convert that ICP into the cycles. That's how you get the cycle, and you can keeping the certain cycle in your canister so that your application is available on IC and people will using. As soon as your cycle goes below the threshold or goes below the certain value, your users will not able to access your code or access your applications because you do not have enough cycles to solve to process your application. So that's the reason we need cycles to keep serving our product to our users. And initially, when you roll out, suppose you are building out your first application, which is, let's say, simple as this. This is the web page which built on IC, right? Simple web page. So if you want to build out it requires two canister. One is your front-end canister, which serving your assets like your HTML, React, or JavaScript code. And the second is the backend, where you store your information and you have a backend logic, your logical code which you have written. That's where required second canister. So that two canister which you initialize and deploy your code. So initially for that you need certain cycles. Creating a new canisters and deploying code initially require around 2 to 3 up to 4 trillions of cycles. But once it's there, then processing and serving it's really cheap. So up to 10 trillion, you guys are good to go for now. Okay. Anything else? Okay. So I think so that's all on my end. Guys, I'm also sharing my LinkedIn profile. Here it is. And I'm also sending this link into the group. So if you have any questions, any doubt, feel free to reach out to me over there, connect, and I'm happy to help you guys.
Thanks a lot, Sagar.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy, guys. Bye.
Thank you, Sagar. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks. See you guys.